So then folks, it's that time of the year where the biker community splits. Half of us, well I'd say 3/4 of us, blanket the bikes away for winter, get them all nice and fettled up and tuck them away until spring, and then you've got the other half that just get ready for winter, brace it, the fair weather riders. Well today we're going to get some protection on the brand new MT09 SP and prep it for winter and against that dastardly road salt. Hi guys, how are we doing? JBL Motovlogs here and welcome back to another video, and today we are talking protection. So you may have seen a couple of these on previous bikes on the channel, where every year we kind of get the bike winter prepped, where we put some sort of coating on it and blast it with ACF or any sort of rust protection. But today I thought I'd take a different approach with the MT09 and we're going to do it a little bit different. So I know what you're here for, let's waste no more time and let's get cracking. So first is pressure washing the bike down, whether you have a pressure washer or just your standard garden hose. We're starting from fresh, so it doesn't matter how clean or dirty your bike is, we're going to do this anyway. I use a K2 Karcher compact. I got it from the Halfords near me. You can get them on Amazon, eBay, you can get them pretty much anywhere. Perfect little jet wash, not too powerful but it's not too weak as well. I've got an adjustable nozzle on this one as well, so I turn it down as far as it goes where it's still got enough pressure to push dirt but not enough to kind of shift the paint and damage bearings. So the reason we do this is simply to wash away heavy deposits and loosen surface dirt, so then when we apply any sort of shampoo or cleaning agent it has easier time doing its job. So with this, make sure it's quite thorough. You want to get as much as that proper like top surface dirt off as you can. Make sure to get in areas as well that you don't always see. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's always there, and usually them places are the worst contaminated. So areas like engine bays, underneath the swing arm, in around the linkage, all around them areas we don't see it, but that's where the grime gets the worst. So second off, we are using a pre-wash or a pre-cleaner. I'm using the Autobrite all-purpose degreaser, which is part of the new bike range, which hasn't come out yet. So all over the areas of the bike that are most contaminated, such as wheels, brakes, but make sure it is safe on these surfaces. You're going to have to look on the back of your cleaning agent, whatever you're using. Engine bay, belly pan, rear shock, RUKKA, especially the lower part of the bike, again it just loosens all that dirt even further for the next step to do its proper magic. So with this, a lot of people may say once you spray it on, kind of agitate it with a brush or something. I don't want to touch this stuff. We try to get as much dirt off as we can before we even make any sort of contact with it. The reason we do this is to stop any sort of swirls or micro scratches in paintwork, panels, plastic, all that sort of stuff. We'll just try to get it prepped for when we eventually come around to the contact wash. So this Autobrite degreaser has a recommended time of 1 to 2 minutes waiting before we thoroughly wash it off again with the pressure washer. Just get the pressure washer out, thoroughly rinse this off as well, and make sure there's nothing left, because most of these agents are quite strong, so you don't want to be leaving them on your bike for quite a long time. So make sure you thoroughly wash that off, get the bike nice and clean, and then it's time for everybody's favourite part, the snow foam. The third step then, the part we all like, snow foaming. So once the bike's been completely rinsed down, once more we're going to blanket in a lovely snow foam. Again, I'm using the Autobrite Lance and snow foam, and when I say blanket in snow foam I mean absolutely everywhere. So the reason we do this, you guessed it, to soften the contaminants even further before we do a contact wash, so we don't scratch any surfaces. Make sure you're reading any sort of product you're using. This one by Autobrite says it has a waiting time of 8 to 10 minutes. It's a very thick snow foam, so it kind of clumps and it kind of creeps into them areas that you might not be able to get to, hence why you need to thoroughly snow foam the bike. So while we are waiting for the snow foam to fall off the bike, a quick announcement. You may have guessed it, I'm partnering up with Autobrite, moving away from the other brand I usually worked with. Behind the scenes, me and Autobrite have been having a lot of chats and stuff, and been sending me a few products out to test, especially their new motorcycle range which I'm using here, and honestly I can hand on heart say I've fallen in love with the stuff. Really good stuff, really good for its price, does its job, made of good chemicals, made by people that definitely know how to clean cars, which is fantastic. And again, everything they have says exactly what it does on the tin. The degreaser is perfect as long as you follow every instruction it says. The snow foam lance is fantastic, created the thickest foam I've ever seen, over the Karcher one which I usually used, and as well all of the shampoos and snow foams, waxes and pre-wash and all that sort of stuff. I've got all the kit, and I've thoroughly tested it before I wanted to go through with any sort of announcement, or I've been giving them reviews on it as well, and it really is good stuff. So from now on you'll be seeing me use a lot of Autobrite products, and well, these free lovely beanie I got along with one of them. So after the 8 to 10 minutes as well, you should be seeing the snow foam kind of creeping off. It was raining when I was doing this, so I had to wait maybe 1 or 2 minutes less because the rain was just taking it off. Thoroughly rinse it off one more time, make sure there's no snow foam left, especially in areas like the radiator. Make sure you pressure wash the radiator from a distance, because you'd be surprised how much that holds in there. And make sure you're spinning the wheels as well, because once you're spinning the wheels, it gets caught in the chain inside the front sprocket, and again, you don't want any shampoo or snow foam left over on the bike. So on the MT09, the next step would be to do a contact wash. Now, I didn't do it on the MT09. This bike wasn't as filthy or as dirty at all. As I said, we are starting afresh. There's a difference between the standard pressure washing and a contact wash. I mean, this had just come from a showroom floor, so this was a case of just getting that, that aftermarket factory silicone off, the thing that they make the bike look shiny. I wanted to get it off just so we had a base material, so whatever we applied to it could bond really well. But I didn't need to do it because the degreaser and the snow foam had taken care of that. But if you are to carry on prepping the bike for winter, as you can see I did on the MT07, you'll go ahead with a contact wash. So using the 2 bucket method, as you may see in all over YouTube, it really does work, and I can't even stress it enough to buy another bucket to do this with. One for the shampoo and one for clean water to rinse the pads in once you've washed them and got all the contaminants on your pads. Again, you don't want to go through all the first stages of this, avoiding any sort of scratching, to dunk a sponge straight back into the bucket, start swirling your paintwork. And the stages I do, so what we usually do on the JBL Motovlogs channel, you may have seen on the 390 and the MT07, is coat the bike in ACF 50. This year I've taken a little bit of a different approach, as last year with the MT07. The ACF 50 did its job to an extent, but I don't think I put it on correctly, and I kind of wasted it a lot on the plastics and stuff. So this year I've opted for a ceramic coating option and also a tad bit of ACF 50, because there's no doubt it definitely does its job. So once we've contact washed the bike, the next stage is to dry it. Again, another stupidly important stage of this. Applying any sort of product to a wet surface is just going to wash it off, dilute it, and not adhere to what it says. So pull the bike in the garage, and there's a couple of ways you can dry your bike properly. You can use microfiber towels, hair dryers, pet dryers, and you can buy a motorcycle specific dryer, which I did, which is probably one of the best purchases I've made in terms of the bike. It's fantastic for getting in nooks and crannies, bolt areas, radiators, anywhere where water creeps would stay and then unfortunately proceed to rust and make them bolts awful. So spend some time on this, make sure you get into every nook and cranny. Usually it's about 10 to 15 minutes of thoroughly wiping down, but yeah, get the bulk of the water off and then go in with a microfiber cloth, and you'd be surprised how much you may have missed on the bike, but you'd be surprised as well how much, when you normally wash it and dry it with a microfiber cloth, how much you do normally miss when you get some sort of dryer like this. So once the bike's dry, then we've completely decontaminated. There's nothing on the surfaces, we just have the base metal and material. It's time to apply some coating. So what we usually would do on the JBL Motovlogs channel, you see quite a lot of people doing it, is just blather the bike in ACF 50. If you are wanting a more in-depth kind of video on what this is, I did make a video on that a couple months ago. I'll leave it up here if you're really interested in it. But this year we're taking a different approach with the MT09, and because ACF is such a horrible product to work with, I am going to provide some ACF to areas, because there's no doubt that it does do its job, but I'm going to provide a ceramic coating to the painted areas and the plastics on the bike. So using an application pad and a bit of the Meguiar's ceramic coating, I proceed to just wipe it straight onto any painted areas and large surface plastic areas as well, such as side panels, front mudguard, tank, rear hugger, all the areas that see a lot of corrosion and damage and road salt. What this does, it locks in all the paint, puts a film over it so any contaminants can't get to it, helps it to an extent scratching, perfect for UV rays. Water beading's fantastic, so you'll notice the next time you come to your bike, rinse it off and dry it off, the water just beads straight off and leaves a lovely finish. And then with the plastic areas as well, the main benefit is UV rays as well in the summer. It puts that layer over it so it stops them cheaper plastics fading in the heavy sunlight. Where ACF comes in, I've mentioned I did it a little different this year, so instead of putting it in a spray bottle and just misting all the engine, what I've done this year is apply it to the areas that I think need it the most. So I've gone around with a paintbrush with a little bit of ACF and applied it to every galvanised bolt I can see, so all the engine bolts, underneath the engine, disc bolts, all around there. Applying it with a paintbrush, then just wiping it with a microfiber so it gets the coating but it doesn't leave any residue, so it gets on into any brake pads or any brake material. Stuff like the rear sets, keeping it away from the foot peg obviously, but all the exposed metal galvanized parts and zinc coated parts, all of them have been coated, so it stops that salt just eating through its protective coating and making it rust. But as for winter protection, you are done. Go out and enjoy your ride, and make sure when you turn that bike on, you just have a little check around and make sure there's no any sort of cleaning products on any brake discs, hand guards or anything like that. So thank you for watching, hope it helped. This is this year's winter protection, and we're doing it a little different on the MT09, so in the coming months we'll definitely see if the method was. You might have an MT09 that's covered in rust, but who knows, we'll find out. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoy it, have a look at the rest of the channel, and this has been JBL Motovlogging, and I am out. Peace.